Hello everyone, Paul Ferguson here with Richard Beaupre. Welcome once again to action from day 13. The semifinals continue at the 1993 World Ice Hockey Championships. Canada against Russia. Well, if this game is half as good as the one we saw earlier today between the Swedes and the Czechs, then I'm really going to enjoy it. Both teams came out flying, decided to play for a full 60 minutes, and this is how it ended up in overtime. The Swedes with Rundqvist getting the winning goal. They go on into the final. Who will meet them there on Sunday? Will it be Canada or Russia? Well, stay with us and you will see. Between the pipes for the Russians, Trefilov has got to be the weak link. Bill Ranford has been outstanding for the Canadians. And the Canadians will play from left to right on your screens.
Trefilov with a 2.25 goals against average. Ranford 0.80. Quite a difference in the goaltending. Mind you, the Canadians have scored 36 goals in their first 6 games in the competition.
Lindros goes in and takes a swipe at Trefilov right away. And that's going to cost him a penalty. Rob Hearn, the American, was not impressed with that call. And neither with this big guy.
Hearn is going to establish himself straight away. He isn't going to try and martyr this game, but he's going to let these two teams know they're here to play ice hockey, and he's going to have control right from the start.
So Eric Lindros sits in the opening seconds of this first period for Canada. Let's take a look at this again.
Players getting hooked up all over. Both teams playing it tight right at the start. The seconds into the first period when Lindros chopped Trefilov behind the goal.
Well, the German director picked up the wrong infraction. I can assure you it was Lindros behind the goal and not that one you saw on the slow motion replay. A giveaway there for the Canadians as they come back on the attack. Corson trying to break through. Graves up on the far side. Graves now, big shot. Trefilov has to make the save. Going back for it is Smirnov. Smirnov taps it up to Bykov. A good little move. Bykov gives it off to Butsayev. Back to Bykov to Homatov. And the shot rebound is right in front. They couldn't put it in the open net. Oh, a let off there for Ranford and the Canadians. Biakin brings it back in for Russia. Brindamore is out there now for the Canadians. He whistles that around the boards, and that eludes everyone and goes all the way back into Russian territory. 55 seconds on the penalty to Lindros as the Russians bring it right back up the ice. Titov, a nice little drop pass, and here come the Russians. Karpov. Karpov in the corner, a big slash on him as he drops it off. Krolov. Smirnov over to the far side. That's kicked in to the side of the net. Veritsky now. Veritsky delivers that to Karpov. Karpov trying to come in on the short side. Big shot from way out, and that whistles by the far corner. And the Russians will chase.
Canadians, number 1, short-handed. Have done an excellent job of killing penalties. The Russians, though, with the likes of Bykov and Komatov, can create so many problems when they have the man advantage.
All the way down in Russian territory with the Canadians supplying a bit of weight out there. Lindros, the man was most of the weight. Oh! Almost a collision in neutral ice territory as Lindros stepped on the ice. Everybody knew about it. And then immediately his stick was held. Lindros getting right into the thick of the action.
Canadians back at full strength. Recchi staying on the ice, 2 goals and 4 assists, 6 points for him.
Face off in Canadian territory. Ranford gets set for this as Lindros goes into the box up against Yashin. Yashin, who should be in the NHL next year with the Ottawa Senators. That's gloved down. It's difficult to get it over Lindros. Lindros with a head of steam, a 2-on-1 situation. Takes the shot. The rebound is there. They just can't put it in. Trefilov was lying on the ice. Korea was right there with Corson following up behind. Big shot by Lindros. Boy, did he break for goal.
You don't think that a 6'5" player can skate. Watch Eric Lindros. He pulls right away from the Russians, creates a 2-on-1 opportunity, comes over the blue line, elects to shoot. Trefilov makes the save. It isn't an easy one for him. Korea slamming on the brakes, trying to get a piece of the rebound. Only has one hand on the stick, can't do much with it. Corson is well smothered as he tries to get in to help out. Trefilov at full extension, able to keep the puck out.
Corson, another shot on goal. Varitsky, not a great pass from him up on the wing, and the Russians will try it again. A giveaway to Lindros. Oh, a great move by Lindros, and a good save by Trefilov. All the way back, another shot. Benning got a piece of that. And Lindros is tearing this Russian team apart in the opening seconds of this first period. Lindros behind the goal. Korea tries to get out front. The pass comes out front, back to Lindros. He puts it back to Benning, who takes the shot. And that deflected out over the zone. What a start for the Canadians.
The Russians having all kinds of problems with Lindros. What do you do with a guy that's that big, that has that many moves? He leans on you, you're just not going to get him off the puck.
Khomatov up to Bykov. Butseyev moves into the center. Butseyev with a shot. The rebound comes down. Ranford had problems with that for a moment, and the Canadians get it out over the zone. Biakin goes to the far side, and he's shadowed by Johnson. Khomatov goes after his man. Smith having problems on the far side. He gets a little help from Mike Gartner, and we have a whistle on the play after an explosive start from the Canadians.
Shots coming from all over. The team's not wasting time getting them away. Lindros on the move. Excellent shift by him. Changing directions, going in on Trefilov. Trefilov coming up big though.
Boy, I take back what I said about Trefilov at the start of this program being the weak link in the Russian side. He certainly has started to prove me wrong. Butseyev tips it up forward, and the Russians now with Khomatov and Bykov. Bykov, Butseyev moves in, a high shot on Ranford, and he got it off the shoulder, and that's cleared down the ice. This line is going to be dangerous with Butseyev, Khomatov, and Bykov.
Ranford has only had a couple of shots on his net, but they've been high and a bit awkward for him to try and handle. The rebounds have been there. The Canadian defensemen have been doing a good job of taking the man off the puck and not allowing the Russians to have a second crack at it. Mikhailov, virtually unknown as an international coach, at this level anyway, but as a player, he's been around for 8 World Championships, collecting 2 golds. Ranford feels fit for the face-off, and the Canadians win it. Sanderson drops it back, and McIver delivers that to this corner. The shot comes in. Ranford is there. Titov got the rebound. Glove down as it was going high by Ranford. Good reflexes by Bill Ranford. The Russians showing that they've got plenty of offensive strength of their own. A great start for both teams in this game. Puck comes back to the blue line, drilled at Ranford. This time there is a Russian open in front of the goal. Titov trying to link up with the puck, can't pull it out of the air. Smirnoff a shot. Ranford makes the save, and the Canadians get it out over the blue. Smirnoff doubles back, throws it at the red, and number 24, Karpov, couldn't hang on to it. Manson gets it to McIver, back to Manson. And Canada with Manson on the move. Over the red line at the far end, Trefilov and a bouncing puck. Brindamore tried to get it out front, going in quickly for it. The Canadians set it up in the Russian zone. No score as we approach the 5-minute mark. Sanderson, Janine on the far side. Manson takes the shot, and that bounces off the backboards. A lot of spring out there on these backboards. McIver into the corner. Brindamore out front. Trefilov is dumped as the Canadians muscle around that net. 24, Manson fakes the first shot. The second shot is there, and Trefilov retaliates. Gets a slash in there. He wasn't too impressed with being dumped on his backside a moment ago. Trefilov showing excellent reflexes of his own. We mentioned Ranford earlier. The puck coming so quickly off the backboards. Trefilov reacting and getting down. Good job by Trefilov to get the stick down and cover the puck.
Brind'Amour gets a penalty for slashing. Trefilov gets a penalty for slashing. Of course, he won't go off the ice. Someone will have to sit for 2 for him.
Was 9 on the ice.
Rod Brind'Amour, 22-year-old Philadelphia Philly star. Number 2 in the scoring this year for them with 37 goals, 49 assists. Certainly needed over here in Europe. Veritsky sits for the Russians. Coincidental penalties both for slashing on the goaltender and Brind'Amour. Rob Hearn levels it up from the face-off. Sorokin being shadowed by Buchberger, who is dumped by Gagne, and that's cleared nicely up onto the right side. Good shot there by Kaminski, and a great save by Ranford. Kaminski hit hard by Galley, and the Canadians having to react quickly on that move by the Russians. Taken over the line, Gagne and Buchberger offside, 15 and 16, and Buchberger wants to mix it up out there.
Everybody expecting the Canadians to come in and play a physical game. They aren't any more physical than the Russians are. The Russians are throwing their weight around. Blow by blow, the two teams evenly going at it. Good man-to-man coverage once again. A look at Trefilov's slash earlier. Brind'Amour not taking kindly to it, gives him one back. That's why the two players were penalized. Veritsky serving the penalty for Trefilov.
Face-off just outside the blue line. And Lindros against Karpov, and Manson gets it and gives it to McIver. The shadow comes from Khomatov, and that's thrown up onto the wing, and the Canadians start back out, getting past Bykov, but not past Biakin. A long flip to the far side, and Shendelev gets it up to Khomatov. Khomatov circles, throws it through to Biakin, and he's dumped to center ice, and here comes Lindros. Lindros, one-stick handling move. He can't get by Bykov, and we have a whistle on the play as Lindros draws a crowd yet again. Everywhere this guy goes, there's trouble.
The Russians aren't totally convinced of that one. Eric Lindros over the center red line. Ever so shifty for a guy his size, gets tangled up, goes diving over the blue line. Bykov turns around to take off with the puck. The whistle has blown. Bykov goes to the penalty box for a trip.
Watch, there were two sticks in here, Biakin's stick and Bykov's stick. Biakin, I think, did the damage, but Bykov, well, no, Biakin now is going to the... Biakin's going to the box, and they've announced that it was Bykov. So Biakin did get the stick in there. It would have been unkind for Bykov to go.
Bob Hearn sorted it out.
The announcer is still trying to get his little eraser out and make the correction on his sheet. That's shot all the way down. The winner of this game will take on the Swedes, who played a brilliant game earlier on today against the Czech Republic. Boy, was that a fast-moving contest. Manson to Lindros, back to Manson. The through pass through to Lindros as he lets it ride. On the wing is Corson. Corson couldn't control that. Neither could McIver. McIver has the puck now. 4-on-3 situation. Corson moves up, skates down, and Lindros gets it on this side. Lindros along boards is hit heavily. McIver, 16 seconds on the coincidental penalties. Manson with a big shot. They score! Power play goal.
Trefilov has come up with a couple of beauties, not able to come up with the shot from Manson. The Canadians being very patient, moving the puck around nicely. McIver sliding it over. Manson drills it. Corson is right in front of the goal with his stick on the ice. He has the final touch. Yushkevich is late getting to him. Corson right in front of the goal, just deflecting the puck. Trefilov unable to come up with it.
Canada on the score sheet first. Recchi couldn't hang on to that. Corson getting credit for the goal on that boomer from Manson. And the Canadians come tearing out of the penalty box. Brindamore is out there now. Goritsky is back on the ice. Gartner with the puck. Recchi drops it back. The pass over onto the right side to Brindamore was behind him. The check coming on Kaminski is a little late and high. Canada leading at 1-0, 7:45 gone on the first period. Smith being shadowed by 19, Yashin. That comes up to the blue line, and the Canadians applying a lot of pressure here as that goes out over the plexi, and the Canadians looking for a delay of game penalty as the goaltender shot it high.
Goaltender, minor delay of game.
Well, you hear the announcement in the background. That's going to cost Trefilov his second penalty of the period.
Trefilov becoming one of the dirtiest players on the Russian team. This time it's a bit innocent, but that's a discretionary call by the referee. Trefilov rifled the puck up into the crowd. The Russians will pay with a 2-minute penalty.
Well, the Russian fans do not like that call, but that's a call that's made very, very frequently in the National Hockey League. Goaltenders who put it over the plexi into the stands are given 2-minute penalties for delay of game, and that's what happens to Trefilov on this occasion. Again, Trefilov does not leave the ice, but he's certainly causing his team one or two headaches. Nikolaisen is in there. They've sorted that out. And again, the Canadians with Manson perfectly positioned. They're going to Manson. This guy has got a rocket of a shot. Scored 15 goals for Edmonton this year. And the 26-year-old was a real powerhouse from just inside the blue.
That's a play that the Canadians have been using in most games. Working the puck back to Manson. He's not shy about letting the slap shot go.
Manson has a whisper in Lindros's ear, and the puck comes right back to him. Manson again throws it over to the far side. McIver puts it in the circle, back to Manson. Hesitated on the shot. McIver fakes it. Manson again. They're trying to get that puck to him for the shot. Slotted right through to Lindros, but Krolov saw it all the way. Right in front. Correa just couldn't put it in the net. Correa was standing there at point-blank range. A bobbling puck. Shane Corson now with Correa in the corner. Corson moves in front. Manson on this side goes to Lindros in the circle right in front. Corson was behind it, and Correa too far in front of it. All the way back to McIver, back to Lindros. Lindros moving in right in front again. Manson tees it up, a big shot. That was tipped down as Correa gives it to Corson. Corson is dumped behind the goal, and a big hit on Saposnikov by Lindros. Correa, Corson, McIver again. And again, the Russians come off lucky on that occasion.
McIver, who's buried a few for Ottawa this year, would like to have another shot at that when he came in from his defensive spot. Got a good shot on the goalie.
Another big shot coming in, and Trefilov comes out as Bykov collects the puck, fires that across the ice, and the Canadians bring it right back over the red. Hitting the far side, Graves is trailing. He wants the puck. It goes over. Sanderson gloves it down, and he's got Galley back at the blue. Galley tees it up, takes the shot. The rebound is there. Sanderson goes in, tries to get it right in front. Graves was hustling, and the Canadians are peppering that goal. Trefilov gives it to Bykov, and the Russians get back to full strength out there. Khomatov, a chance now, big shot. Bykov is there, The rebound right out front. Nobody able to get it for Canada. The Russians trying to get the shot away. Yushkevich poked it through, and the Canadians come back. 2-on-1 situation. Just trickling wide into the near corner. Now the return play going up with Nicolishin. A 2-on-2 situation. Now it's a 3, and they score! Nicolishin was right in front, but the shot came from back, just inside the blue line.
End-to-end action, wide open hockey by both teams. 2-on-2s, 2-on-1s, 3-on-2s. The Russians make it pay off. Close call for Canada at the other end of the ice. Coming into the play very quickly, the Russians are on the attack again. The puck just trickling past Ranford. It gets behind him. There's no way he's going to recover.
Yushkevich getting credit for the goal, levels the score here in the first period, and what a first period it's been. We thought that perhaps there would be no way these two teams could top the game played earlier today, but they're headed in that direction. Breaking through is Nicolishin. Nicolishin working up with 18. Kaminsky lost control of that, and the Canadians coming back on the attack, but Nicolishin is there to intercept. Back over the blue line, throws it up. Yashin got the pass.
Nicolishin and Kaminsky so quick and moving the puck so quickly. Give and goes. Yashin flying in. Ranford is down on the play. Getting up slow. The Russians are so quick to strike. Canadians have had the better of the opportunities in the period, but the Russians can certainly make them count when given the chance.
Face-off comes out into neutralized territory. Manson backing up, McIver backing up. Close encounter there, and Ranford bangs into the post. There he goes with the skates and then the legs right at the back of the knee. And I'm sure Coach Mike Keenan and his assistant Roger Nielsen will be concerned about that. Benning threw it forward to Gartner, who got it up to Johnson. Johnson tips it in. Trefilov lives it there. That comes all the way back, and Benning keeps it in with a skate along the boards. The Canadians continue to apply pressure. Johnson poked it through, and that's tapped out. As far as the hash marks, Graves roughing it up just inside the blue line. Flipped over to the far side by Benning. The Canadians take it over the red and flip it in, and here comes Johnson. Johnson working with Gartner. Johnson still doing a lot of forechecking. That's kicked to the side of the net. Graves was there, and Trefilov comes up with a big smother.
Smart move by Trefilov. Johnson and Gartner doing a good job of forechecking behind the goal. Adam Graves patiently waiting to see if he's going to have a shot. Trefilov cut it off and held on.
It looks like the Russians, after that furious start by the Canadians, have settled down, and they're starting to play some good hockey. Byakin, a nice move to get himself out of the zone. Breaking forward is Butsayev, and Galley got there in a hurry to break it up. Galley picks it up. He's got Recchi on the wing. Recchi taps it forward, and the Canadians in neutralized territory lose control, and that goes deep to Shendelev. Lindros goes after him, and the puck is still inside the zone, and the Canadians continue to apply the pressure. This big line with Lindros out there certainly working well against the Russians. They don't seem to get anywhere at all. A chance now for Bykov. Bykov slows it down, waits for a little support. Shendelev is there, backhands it into the hash marks. The return pass from the side of the net. Butsayev trying to do the wraparound. Bykov into the corner. if there's anybody who can move against the Canadians, it's this line with Khomatov out there. Biakin now being chased through the circle, and the Russians take it deep and start it up again. A long pass up to Khomatov, and the Canadians grab it. That comes out to McIver. Back over the blue comes Manson. Yushkevich goes after Manson, but Manson clears it through. Dineen on this side waits for it. Dineen going after his man, but that was pushed away, and the Russians come out down on the far side. Karpov spun around looking for Titov. Titov takes a hit. He's dumped. McIver gets back into position. Sanderson wraps it around to the far side. The Canadians now with 2 free men on the left side as they go down the ice. Long shot into the corner from just inside the red line. Smirnov turns away as he takes a hit. The Canadians have been told to follow through on their hits, and they don't have to be told to follow through on their hits, but they certainly are doing it out there.
Finally, a stoppage in play as Trefilov covers the puck. Both teams going at quite a clip right now. You can hear the stopping and starting all over the ice. The teams are really moving the puck around nicely, taking advantage of changing on the fly, as we haven't had a real lot of whistles aside from the goals and a couple of penalties.
Face-off in Russian territory, and Gartner is being told to get out of the circle. Graves takes over Johnson's job at center, and the Canadians get it back. A chance now as that comes right into Trefilov, and he gloves it down. And every time these two teams come together, sparks will fly.
Canadians trying to play it tough around the front of the Russian net. Why not? Keep Trefilov on his toes, make him work for everything. That's the game plan, and that's what they'll continue to do. Lean on the Russian defenseman and put the pressure right on Trefilov.
Again from the face-off, the Canadians grab the puck, flip it high, and that goes into the corner. Everybody going in. Gartner pushing and shoving. He's dumped to the ice. Comes over the boards, and we'll have yet another face-off out there. 1-1 the score. Corson for Canada tipped it in off a Manson's shot. Yushkevich leveled the score, and we're still in the first period, still live on Eurosport from Munich. This is the semifinal game. The winners take on the Swedes in the final. Korea in along the boards. It's Gagne. Korea has switched lines now, and that bounces away from the Canadians. The Russians come back on the attack. A drop pass. Sorokin tips it along the boards. Yashin is in there. Korea takes him out of the play. A couple of future NHL stars going at each other there. Korea hits the red line, tips it in, avoids a check. And number 4, Sorokin has to go back in a hurry. 2 Canadians dropped in over the red line. Benning throws it in front of the nets, and the Canadians get it out. Another change on the fly for the Russians and for the Canadians.
Be interesting to see who comes out with Lindros on the next shift, as Korea took that change with Gagne and Buchberger.
Mike Keenan with 5 minutes left on the period, mixing it up in order to get something going for Canada. They looked pretty good to me when they started in this period.
You certainly can't call the Russians underdogs to anybody. Any team that they throw on the ice is always a contender to win a game. They're not short of talent. This team has matured more and more as the games have gone on.
Face-off in Russian territory again, and most of the play has been down here. Recchi lets it go all the way back to Benning, who takes the shot. Trefilov gloves it down. Lots of traffic in front of the cage, but this youngster caught sight of that little black disc and hung on to it.
The shot high enough that Trefilov could just put the glove out and hold on. Corson, Recchi, and Lindros having a shift together.
Shendelev couldn't control that, and so Trefilov forced yet another face-off. This first period has come to a virtual halt with these short spurts and then face-offs. It started at a very hectic pace, 1 goal apiece, and now we're getting set again for another face-off in Russian territory. Shendelev and Vyakin taking up their posts on the D. Canadians win yet another face-off. They're doing a great job at winning face-off. Butsayev up to Khomatov. Khomatov trying to take on Jeff Smith, and Galley has to go back. Ranford way out of his net against Butsayev. We've seen a couple of goalies being caught on a couple of occasions in this competition. Hopefully he's been watching the videos. Vyakin moved up from his point position to take a shot. Khomatov has to wait for his teammates to get on side, and Lindros, a big hit on Khomatov.
Lindros sneaks off the ice for as much as a guy his size can sneak off. Big hit thrown on Khomatov. That could very well end up in the top 5. Khomatov will be back for more. I'm sure he just lost his wind on the play.
6'5", 225 pounds, Lindros. He's got so many moves. He's got speed. He can hit. He can score goals. Boy, what a find. Just an incredible hockey player. Still only 20 years old. Scored 41 goals and 34 assists in the National Hockey League. He missed 23 games through a knee injury. And he's going to be tough in this tournament. Titov missed that. Brindamore and Karpov go up against each other along the boards, and again it's shot down the ice, and again we have another whistle. Hearn having words with both teams out there. He wants them to cool down. Khomatov getting some attention on the bench. It's the old, how many fingers do you see? Khomatov looks very, very shaky indeed, and that's sad to see because he's a fine player. It was a solid, fair check. No penalty on the play. Lindros back out on the ice. Lindros from the face-off, trying to get it through to Korea. They're back together again. And a big tie-up on the blue line with Korea bringing his man down. Lindros is going to be a penalty on the plate. The Canadians will be caught. Korea mixing it up. Corson, the big chop there as Trefilov comes off the ice in an effort to put on an extra attacker. The officials immediately get between the players. This one is just waiting to explode out there, isn't it?
It has gotten a bit chippy. It started out quite fast, aside from the early encounter with the goaltender and Eric Lindros, which happened very quickly into the game. It's been a little bit niggly, kind of getting more and more so as the teams are really starting to throw the body around. The Russians will have the man advantage out of this one.
Again, we see Lindros out there throwing his weight around, but Manson is the guy who gets the penalty for Canada. Cross-checking is the call, and the Russians now throw out young Yashin. Karpatsev back at the blue. Karpatsev trickles that along the boards. Karpatsev to Yashin. He couldn't control it, and the Russians will have to chase that down into their own zone. Sorokin up on the wing. Nikolaishin breaks on the right side. He gets the pass. Nikolaishin settles it down with less than 4 minutes on the clock. 1:30 on the penalty. The Canadians set up the box. A chance now for Karpatsev as he fed it over. Faked the first shot. Karpatsev gets it along the boards. Karpatsev going for Yashin. Yashin tips it into the corner. The return pass to Yashin. Yashin back to Karpatsev, back to Yashin. From the circle, he takes the shot. Ranford got the skate to it. Big chop by Galley. Galley trying to slow down Nikolaishin, and he gets it over to the far side. All the way back to the blue, and the Russians throwing the puck around, not getting good shots on goal. Karpatsev. Yashin. Karpatsev. A one-timer comes in. Ranford on the rebound. Yashin put the stick out, couldn't get it, and Karpotsov tips it along the boards. Yashin right at the blue line, throws it to an empty wing. Smith goes after it and golfs it. Graves is there. And number 23, Nikolaishin, is piling up too.
Buchberger and Graves doing a good job up front for Canada, forcing the play all over the ice, keeping the Russians to the outside. And the play did break down near the back of the net. Smith was quick to get back there and help out defensively. Smith and Galley linking up together in the shorthanded situation.
The Canadians beat the Russians 3-1 in the first, or the last game rather, of the preliminary round. The Canadians are undefeated in this competition. That goes right back to the blue. Biakin is held by Corson. The Canadians unable to come up with a puck. Everyone racing forward along the blue. A big chop there by Brindamore as that comes into the corner. McIver stays out front, kicked along by Karkner, still not out of the zone. McIver goes down from a sharp angle, right out front. Biakin is there. Ranford stayed with him all the way back a shot. That bounces right in front. Vikov had a golden opportunity from the slot area. Komatov back on the ice, gets it back to the blue. Komatov in the corner. The Canadians are back at full strength. Manson takes his man out of the play, but the Russians still have the puck. Going after it, number 6, Karkner. And the Canadians tipping it forward out over the blue. And they take the pressure off for a moment anyway.
Ranford played that beautifully against Biakin. Straight away after that, Ranford diving to get back into position on another long shot. Got up very slow. We'll have to keep an eye on Bill Ranford.
Another big hit. This time it comes from Delhi on 23, Nikolaishin. Boy, the Canadians are flattening the Russians out there. Sanderson, a good move on him, and he dumped himself. High stick. Pardon me, it looked for a moment like he tripped, but the stick went right up. He put a good move on Shendelev.
Jeff Sanderson buzzing around behind the goal. Went left, then right, then left and right again. Turning Shendelev around, the stick coming right up and catching Sanderson on the face. He went down in a hurry. 5-minute penalty being called by the American referee.
They're letting him stay in the game though. Rob Hearn rather knows how important this one is. So Shendelev gets off with a 5-minute penalty for high sticking, and this is going to be a long power play for the Canadians.
1-1 the score. A man advantage for 5 minutes can be forever. The Russians are really going to have to dig down and kill the penalty off.
Lindros goes in. Smirnov tapped it through, and that's bounced all the way down the ice. The big man with the big shot. Manson goes deep. A minute on the period. Lindros sets it over to the far side. Corson breaks into the corner. That's tapped all the way back to Manson, who puts it in. We've got Korea on this side. Corson back there in the corner. And Lindros cruising in front of the goal. Korea goes after that, but the Canadians aren't fast enough to keep it in. The Russians flip it all the way down the ice. Ranford well out of his cage. A long pass up to Corson. Corson taking it in the corner. Lindros is there. Korea on the far side. And that's golfed away by Yashin.
Manson goes off. A fresh defenseman comes on. Canadians would like to get one last shot.
12 seconds. McIver gets that up to the blue line. The Canadians aren't going to press it too much. They know they've got the start of the second period, 4 minutes at least, on the power play as the buzzer goes to end the first 20 minutes of play. It's Canada 1, Russia 1.
A good period for both teams. Penalties will become a factor as this one goes on. The teams are really throwing the weight around. The stick's coming up. It's a little bit rough in front of the goal and in the corners. Shots on goal, 17 for Canada, 10 for the Russians.
That's a big first period for Canada. Trefilov has come up big on several occasions. He must have heard what I said about him being the weak link in the squad. I still don't think he's up to world-class standards like they've had in the past with Tretiak and Archer Erb, but he's playing some good hockey. Well, we're going to have a special news flash now about Monica Seles, so stay with us. We're also going to have the second period in just a moment, but right now it's a special news flash about Monica Seles. We'll be back after this break, so stay with us. More hockey on Eurosport. Welcome back once again to Munich as we get set for the start of the second period. The Canadians and the Russians are out on the ice. The officials are there. All we need now is a face-off. 1-1 the score. The Canadians with Corson starting things off on a power play goal. Yushkevich for Russia. And that's the way it stands after 20 minutes of play. Both goaltenders have had their fair share of action and they've looked sharp. A lot of physical stuff from both teams. Some good playmaking. Both teams have settled down. And I'm all set for a good 2 periods of hockey.
I'm glad to hear that, Paul. It's good that you finally settled yourself down. Hearn with the big call late in the period as Jeff Sanderson was hit with a high stick by Shendelev, being issued a 5-minute penalty. That carrying over, of course, into this period. The Canadians are going to have the man advantage.
Lindros breaks through. Lindros is grabbed there by number 8, Krolov, and that's the only way they're going to slow him down. All the way down the ice. Ranford gets the touch. Manson is there. Manson and McIver back on the D. Big pass up the middle. And Lindros couldn't handle it. Sanderson tips it forward. Corson throws it over, and the Canadians now. Sanderson takes a shot on the short side. Lindros was cruising on this side. That doesn't come out. Another big shot comes in. The rebound comes out to the side of the net. McIver let that one fly from about 45 feet out. Manson tips it in. It's too far for anyone, and we'll have an icing call and a power play for the Canadians out there.
Canada comes close, but not close enough. We've got to hit the net. Good pressure applied early. McIver stepping in from the blue line. He drilled that shot just wide of the goal. The Russians with a let-off as the Canadians ice the puck in the middle of the line change.
Well, we know that the Swedes will be watching this one with interest as they'll take on the winner in the final. The Czechs, who were beaten by the Swedes today, will take on the loser for the bronze medal. That comes out to neutral ice territory, and the Russians throw it in. The Canadians with Manson coming out at the side of the net. Manson taps it forward. Canada with Gartner. Gartner taking off the puck in the slot area, but the Russians unable to get the puck by Manson. Trefilov fanned on the clearance. The loose puck is behind the net. Gartner was right there. Canada back with McIver. McIver to Manson. Manson's got the quick shot. Scores!
Not very often do you see the Russians positional hockey break down, but it does on this play. It all started with Trefilov not being able to find a handle on the puck behind the goal, fanning on his own shot. The puck comes all the way around to McIver. It ends up on the other side to Manson. Manson with another big shot from the blue line. A lot of traffic in front of Trefilov. It appears to have taken a deflection. Nevertheless, Canada go into the lead.
Look at the traffic in front of the goaltender. The Canadians still with the power play. Benning now hits the blue. Benning moves right in, gives it over. Shot, score! Recchi. Great job by Benning as he took it over the blue. The big defenseman skating like a forward. set it up. Well, they're just announcing the first goal to Manson. McIver getting an assist on it out there with Gartner. And here comes the third goal, Corson popping it home.
Excellent move by Brian Benning, stepping up, avoiding all of the checks, sliding the puck across. Corson makes no mistake, goes upstairs. The Canadians pouncing on the Russians.
Long pass out, still a power play for a further 2 minutes and 12 seconds. The Canadians extending their lead, trying to jam it in on the short side, and that's shot all the way down into neutral ice territory. That high stick is costing the Russians dearly. Bykov goes after his man. The Canadians with Recchi on the puck. Recchi puts it over to Graves. Graves is out there with Lindros. Manson on this side calling for it again. And the Russians pick it up, slow it down. Lindros got in the way of Bykov. Lindros is about twice the size of Bykov. Manson tips it through to Gartner. Gartner tries to get it up, and Viakin got a stick on it. Manson saw his man go beyond him, and the Russians take it into the Canadian zone. And that's cleared over onto the near corner, and the Canadians with Brindamore up on the wing. Brindamore loses out. That's dropped all the way back to Manson, who's been on the ice for a long time. The Canadians shoot it in with McIver getting the touch. Gartner calling for it. Brindamore is there. Working out front is Gartner. Manson, another big shot. The rebound right out front. Brindamore tried to tip it in. Gartner is right there. Trefilov comes up with the puck somehow.
The familiar sight of Manson at the blue line, winding up for a slap shot. I was mentioning how their positional play, that is the Russians, broke down on the second Canadian goal. Once again, the forward late coming out to be high on the box. They know Manson's going to shoot the puck. They've got to get out there and cover him.
Gartner was free on the right side of the net, but Trefilov got the glove to it. 3-1 the score. Face-off in Russian territory. Titov thought for a moment that he was being kicked out of the circle. Gagne tries to get it back. The puck lies right on the red dot. Galley goes in there. 4 Canadians within about 2 feet of each other. Benning couldn't hold it in. And that goes all the way down the ice. Chasing forward is Pushkov. Gagne quickly up on the right side. He's got Sanderson ahead of him. Gives that to Sanderson. The quick release. That took a deflection and went upstairs. We'll have another face-off.
Canadians on the rush again. Pushkov killing the penalty, was skating hard, but why did he go behind the Canadian goal? It's just little things that can burn you.
Sanderson, one of the few players in the National Hockey League born in the Northwest Territories. They grow them rough and tough there, that's for sure. You wake up in the morning and you shave with a broken bottle. You have a bath after you crack the ice in a frozen lake, and then you come back for breakfast and you wrestle a moose. And that's just the women. The guys are even tougher.
How would you know growing up in Ottawa?
I read the book.
You've been watching too much TV, I think.
From the face-off, Lindros back to the blue. 28 seconds on the 5-minute major penalty.
I'm sorry, I can't avoid that one. Right from the hip, Paul. You came out with that one. That was nice. That was totally ad-libbed. That was lovely.
Corson with 2 goals in this game looks up at the clock and knows that they're running out of time on this 5-minute penalty. All the way back on the defense, the Canadians with Recchi in front of his own goal, getting it away from Nikolation. McIver happy just to tip it in the zone. Recchi is there. He's run out of the play by Karpatsev. And Karpatsev steals the puck 8 and 9 going after him, and the Russians are back at full strength, and that'll be an icing call.
Shendelev out of the box. He'll probably want to hide on the bench somewhere. He's cost his team 2 goals.
He probably won't go back to the bench.
You realize it's a team sport, but his penalty has cost him. He'll be out to make amends for that.
One or two supporters for Sweden in the crowd. A lot of Canadians are here on holiday from the bases nearby, and lots of Russians have come over the border. Grave in the face-off circle. That's delivered back to Frolov. Frolov gets a hit. Frolov working out there with Yashin. Yashin trying to get hold of the puck. Frolov with a little tip there by number 21, Pushkov. Right in front of the goal, and the Russians now started up. Frolov, a long pass into neutral ice territory. That was nice. Pushkov, a big chop on him by Mayer. Mayer, who hasn't seen a lot of action for Canada, did a great job. That's given to Karkner. Karkner head manning the puck. Graves takes the wrist shot. That's batted down, and the Canadians apply some more pressure here in the second period. They've already got 2 goals. Back comes number 21, Pushkov, at the side of the goal. Mayer along the hash mark. Sanderson with Johnson on the far side going for a change. Sanderson dumps it in, and the Russians looking for a quick break. That was nice. Butsayev got it up, and shot coming in, just whistling by the far post. Bouncing in the corner, Butsayev came up quickly to try to clean up on things. Sanderson can't get away from Shendelev, and the Canadians now trapped down on the boards. 1, 2, 3 Canadians mixing it up. Still no one able to get the puck. Brindamore took a swipe at it. The pass over to the far side was intended for Frolov, and that didn't work for the Russians. Galley got a touch on that. Nikolaishin went in, and some rough stuff with 5:30 gone on the period. A chance now with a 2-on-1, and Sanderson just couldn't get the stick on it.
Shendelev crashing the blue line, involved in the altercation along the bench, caught out. The Canadians with a good 2-on-1 opportunity.
Bykov and Homatov forechecking for the Russians as that whistles around the boards, and the Canadians with 16, Kelly Buchberger, moving over the blue line, will have a whistle on the plate.
The Russians down by 2 goals, trying to crash one defenseman in on the blue line to keep pressure on the Canadians and not allow them to break out. That can work in your favor, or you can get burnt momentarily. The Canadians had a good opportunity seconds ago. They'll have to be aware of that and try and slip somebody behind the Russian defense.
Yushkevich circles once, puts it up on the wing to Karpov. Karpov is dangerous, drops it back. The loose puck coming in there, and Frolov trying to get something free. Manson clears it out of the zone. 3 Canadians there at center ice. A big slash there from Buchberger as he tries to free that puck. Put up now to 24, Karpov. Karpov, some good stick handling, poke check right inside the blue line. Yushkevich goes back on the D, and the Canadians trying to break free. Delayed offside is now waved off. Ranford tipped that away. Not a great clearance from Ranford. Karpov slashed along the boards. Shot comes in. That took a deflection. McIver took a poke at it. Still not away. McIver got in front of it, and Ranford went down. The shot from the short side. They score! Ranford was looking the wrong way. Titov was right in front of the net.
Never count the Russians out. It's been all red shirts. The Canadians have been all over the Russians a long time on the power play. The Russians are back at full strength. Their passing hasn't been brilliant in the second period, but it doesn't take them many opportunities to put something into the goal. Ranford with the initial save, gets the leg out. Play comes back to the near side. An excellent pass laid off by number 23, Nikolaishin, not to go around the goal, to try and catch the Canadians off guard. Titov is fighting in front of the net for the puck. Manson is there. Ranford doesn't have a clue.
Ranford went with the motion one way, but good pass back by the Russians to set that up. Lindros in the corner didn't get the stick on the puck. Yashin is muscling his way, and the Russians come up with it. 23, Nikolaishin. Yashin takes a hit, another hit from Benning, a couple of 19s going after each other. Nikolaishin moves it along the boards, and the Canadians are finding themselves trapped in their own zone. 3-2 the score, 7:35 gone on the period. Karkner tries to muscle with Benning, and the Canadians now working it up on the wing. Lindros backhands it right in front of the goal. A big hit there, and back come the Russians. 2-on-1 situation, 2-on-2 situation. Nikolaishin tried to get it by Manson. Manson has the big hook on him. Johnson gets in there with a hook and grabs it away. Lots of jeers. There's going to be a penalty against the Canadians. Manson still hanging on and hooking. The Russians still moving the puck forward. Right in front. Another chop. And that is over the red line. The Russians are celebrating. A long delayed penalty on the play. Pushkov digs himself out from the crowd of Russian players.
Pushkov doing a lot of work. Got hit harder by his own teammates than he did the Canadians. Trefilov is racing off the ice. On the attack is Sorokin. Sorokin with a lovely pass over right in front of the goal, wide open, is Astrakhantsov. He's yelling and screaming for the goal. Good move from Sorokin, moving around the defense. The pass is there. Astrakhantsov off the post with the first try. The second one gets underneath Ranford. Astrakhantsov and Pushkov were mauled by their teammates after the goal.
A moment ago, the Canadians were leading 3-1, but look at that scoreline on your screens. It's now level. Sorokin picks up the assist on that. Astrakhantsov gets the goal. And the Canadians have squandered a 2-goal lead. There's the goal by Titov to make it 3-2. Smith wrestles along the boards, and that goes over from Brindamore. Sanderson and Brindamore break. A long pass across the rink took a deflection. That went high. And the Canadians striking right back with 3 attackers at the blue.
The Canadians not letting up, trying to come right back with a goal of their own. It certainly is a game of momentum. The Canadians had that long power play opportunity. I'll say it again, they got 2 goals out of it, but now that the Russians have returned to full strength, they've quickly come back with 2 goals of their own. The Canadians trying to get something going. The Russians are starting to do an excellent job of playing wide, staying on their wings and back checking.
Brindamore got it back. Big shot comes in. Bounces off the backboards. Bykov collects. Bykov through the circle. Good pass up into neutral ice territory. Took a deflection. Khomatov picks it right back up. Gives it to Bykov. He's got the good shot. Bykov a lot of time. Maybe too much time on it. Ranford got a stick on it as Biakin tried to move it in on the short side. Bykov is calling for it. The pass doesn't come his way. Khomatov is right out front. Bykov takes the shot. No one is on this guy at all, and he's the most dangerous guy in the ice. Brindamore down there looking for Gagne, and the Russians clear it out of the zone.
The Russians looking a lot smoother than the Canadians right now. Bykov, as you said, Paul, wide open in the slot. You can't leave that guy open.
Bykov could have baked a cake out there. He was standing all alone. He had a stick in the air saying, "Give it to me, give it to me." And everyone was watching the puck carrier. Astrakhantsov with his first goal of the competition. And when I tried to write his name down on the score sheet, I continued on to the desk.
The last 3 letters you wrote on my arm.
The Canadians with the whistle blowing as they break in on Trefilov. The big man is out there again. And I think for a moment when they had it 3-1 that I have a feeling the Canadians thought perhaps it was going to be a walkaway. You don't count the Russians out until the final whistle goes and you're ahead by a goal.
That's absolutely right. This Russian team is fired up. They're showing emotion, a total different style of coaching. Tikhonov used to stand on the bench and look like the missing member from Mount Rushmore, totally stone-faced all the time. Mikhailov pumping it up, getting the guys going, patting them on the back. It's good to see.
Lindros got the shot away. He gets the puck again and flips it into the corner. Corson is there. Corson tries to backhand it out front. Lindros will go in and gets the puck. Lindros is so hard to move. That comes to Corson. Looks for somebody out front. There's no one there with a red shirt on, and Manson goes after his man. The Canadians getting back in numbers, and the Russians coming up with a puck. Lindros breaks free. Lindros goes into the corner. Smirnov is there. The goaltender came out to glove it down, and he didn't have it. The whistle blows. Someone please tell me why. A brave move by Trefilov, especially when it's the big man himself coming down. But he didn't have it, I'm afraid.
The whistle was blown prematurely. Trefilov out of his goal. He's in no man's land now. Lindros doing nothing illegal, just sticking that long reach of his out and poking the puck away. That action should have continued.
Batted down nicely as that's given to Sorokin. Sorokin comes up on the right side. Sorokin with the wrist shot. That's cleared out by Ranford. And the Canadians dump it out of the zone. Karpatsev is chased. 10:40 gone on the second period. This one is far from over. 3-3 the score. The Russians hit the blue and the whistle blows. And we'll have a face-off in neutral ice territory. Try to find an empty seat in this building. They're trying to get the wave going, and look, it's working.
Making sure that they get their full money's worth for what they've paid to come and see the games. Not only are they being provided with excellent action on the ice, putting on some good entertainment of their own in the stands, certainly coming to life as the Russians have struck twice to level the score.
Brindamore and Pushkov. A chance now for number 24. The shot comes in. That was Valery Karpov. He got a piece of it. Kartner takes a pop at the goal. That comes to the far side, and the Canadians set it up. Sanderson behind the net wants it. Deneen on the far side spins around, and Karpov will come up on the far side of the boards. A 3-on-2 situation. Coming down quickly is 25, Astrakantsov. Astrakantsov against Kartner. Astrakantsov right at the side of the net. Ranford watches that go in front as Brindamore picks it up. Brindamore clears it away from Pushkov, but it's not out. The backhander and Ranford comes way out of his net to glove it down. And the Canadians are looking rocky out there.
Certainly the pressure on Ranford coming into the game as the #1 goaltender. He's played 5 games, 97% saves. He's certainly feeling the pressure, having a hard time handling the puck from time to time during this one. On the move, number 21, Pushkov with a good backhander. Ranford with the save on the glove, forced to grab it the second time.
Back to the live action now. The Canadians with Benning and Buchberger hitting the blue, but that's as far as they got. Recchi tried to feed it through. A lot of Russians getting back in numbers. Buchberger races in. This guy's a good forechecker, but the Russians get it out of the zone. Pass up to Buchberger, and that's fed up onto the wing to Smith. Smith going up against Shendelev. Buchberger's in there. He's taken out of the play. Biakin to Khomatov. Khomatov taps it up, and here comes Bykov. Bykov has got the moves. He's got the shot. Recchi picks up the deflection and puts it up on the wing to Buchberger. Buchberger with Gagne. Gagne, a nice move by Gagne, and a good shot coming in. Trefilov got the stick on as he cleared it out into the hash marks. And Yushkevich couldn't keep it in. Back into the far corner, Canada still moving it around nicely. The Canadians with Everyone coming forward. Lindros trying to tap it back to the blue. That didn't work. Big hit in there by Korea, and the Russians come up over the line. Everyone backing in. The puck is there. Bykov makes it 4-3. The Canadians are trailing now for the first time in the game.
The Russians are on fire. Trefilov is looking steady in the goal. That was the question mark for the Russians. He's putting in a good performance. Consequently, the Russians are starting to find the back of the net. Ranford with the initial save off Yushkevich cannot come up with the rebound. Mr. Bykov can, and he's put Russia in the lead. A lot of time for Yushkevich. Drills it from the slot. Ranford with good reflexes, but not much help on the rebound.
Everyone backing in on Ranford. Korea couldn't stay with Bykov. I'm sure that Korea is going to be a star of the future, but Bykov could teach him a couple of things right now. Manson breaks over the blue. Right in to the side of the net. Dineen was positioned out front, and the pass didn't come his way. Coming up now, Titov takes the shot, and Ranford makes the stick save. Dineen puts it out. That's nice. Sanderson a chance. Sanderson takes the shot. Trefilov comes up big, and Titov gets it out of the zone. Trefilov is really coming up with some key saves in this period. Manson taps it back. McIver had problems with that. Titov is up there forechecking, and we'll have another face-off on the play.
Puck going over the boards. The Russians right in the middle of a line change. Being careful not to get caught with too many men on the ice. Stoppage of play will allow both teams to change the troops. Ranford with the initial save. The rebound was there for Bykov.
Four to three, the Russians leading the Canadians. Karkner dumps that into the corner, and the Canadians set it up again. The Russians are playing some better hockey as that comes to the side of the net. Graves took a swipe at it initially. Everyone mills around the goaltender. Gartner is in there now. Rob Hearn, the American referee, dishing out the penalties.
Hearn looking like a traffic cop, pointing at everybody, barking out who he wants to go to the box. A pair of unsportsmanlike conduct penalties being dished out. Graves roughing it up in front of the goal with Sorokin.
From the face-off, Karpotsov, and the Canadian Smith shoots it right back in. Trefilov is there. Karpotsov got a stick up in a hurry. So Graves also sits, and both teams will play with a man down. 4-3, the Russians have taken the lead in this game. At one time it was 3-1, and then Titov, Ostrakontsov, and Bykov came back with 3 consecutive goals to make it 4-3.
Also, commits penalty for unsportsmanlike conduct, time 33-37.
The Russians winning that nicely. Shooting it all the way in was Bykov, and Khomatov went in after it. Bykov taking off the puck, and the Russians getting there first, drilling it right back into the zone. Khomatov and Bykov are providing some thrills and spills for the Russians, that's for sure. Both of them are 32 years of age and playing like this is their first games as teenagers, full of energy and lots of spirit out there. Smirnov from the side of the net throws it up to Bykov. Bykov looking for Khomatov, and he finds him. Khomatov unable to spin around to get the shot away. Shendelev eventually came in and took the shot, and what are the Canadians doing out there? These two guys are running them ragged. A moment ago it was Lindros doing the damage, but now it's Bykov and Khomatov providing all the action. for the Russians. Butseyev has Titov out front. Going to be a penalty on the play. Yushkevich at the second attempt takes the shot. It's wide of the net. Smirnov lets it ride, and the Canadians with Ranford touching it. That's deflected upstairs. Yashin at the side of the net, all the way back to the blue. Yushkevich now moves it in, takes the shot. Ranford makes the save. The Canadians will touch it, and they have another penalty. If anything's going to kill this Canadian team and end their unbeaten streak, it's going to be penalties. Slashing is the call.
The Russians have taken this period right away from Canada. It certainly looked good for the Canadians at the start with that man advantage. But Russia have climbed back into it, and they're now in control. They're out shooting the Canadians, and the Canadians are sending another man to the penalty box. Gagner works his way over. Slashing is the call on him. Good hard work from Butseyev paying off as he was all over the Canadians in the Canadian defensive zone.
Golden opportunity now for the Russians. They've got the man advantage. Take a look at the slash.
Gagner throwing the cross-check in first. Butseyev, a big strong guy, cutting right away from it, but the two-hander was there to follow from Gagner. Bob Hearn right in position to make the call.
A wide open contest out there. 7 goals have been scored so far. And some concern about this face-off as Corson gets ready. Brindamore in the face-off circle with Nikolaishin. Kaminsky trying to grab it. Yashin is out there too. The youngsters, 18 and 19, have a lot of speed. Keep your eye on them for Russia. All the way back to the blue. Karpovtsov again fakes the shot, puts it into the circle. The Canadians with the man down out there, the one-timer, and Graves jumps on the ice. And the Canadians are just one man down. The Russians are back at full strength. Sorokin is out there too as he backhands it up to 23, Nikolaishin. Nikolaishin gives it to Yashin, who takes a rough ride from Manson. Corson comes in to provide a little physical stuff too. Brindamore is tripped on the blue. Yashin comes in, and Ranford throws it over to the far side. Going after it is Kaminsky. Kaminsky from the top of the circle drops it back. Karpovtsev feeds it over to the hash marks. Sorokin is moving in. 1 minute on the penalty. Trickles out over the blue, so the Russians will have to come out of the zone. Sorokin fires it quickly back in, and the Canadians with Manson will get it. Manson, a chance to shoot it down the ice, and he does.
Yashin and Kaminsky getting a long shift, going for a change.
Graves will do the forechecking for Canada. That's bounced off the boards up to Bykov. Graves puts a check on Bykov, but he gets it over to the far wing to Butseyev. Up to Khomatov. This is the danger line for the Russians. Khomatov back to the blue line. A chance now as the Russians move in. Khomatov takes the shot. Score! Galley was right in front. Was Ranford screened? Either way you look at it, it's 5-3. Power play goal.
There's times when you've got to wonder, are the Russians ever going to shoot the puck? They certainly make it count when they do. Set up nicely. The puck is moved across. Yakin, Khomatov, Bykov all on the ice. Drilled hard and low by Khomatov. Ranford unable to come up with it.
Watch this for vision. He's coming in. Most guys would have taken the shot. He throws it to the far side. A half move by Ranford. Really, he wasn't set for that. He slid across and then started to get up. You've got to be square on those shots when they come across. Easy to say from the commentary box, but Ranford was not looking sharp on that one. 5-3, Khomatov, a big goal. And the Russians have scored 4 goals in this period after the Canadians had 2. And they're starting to extend their lead and walk away from this one. Yushkevich, Buchberger in there. Long pass off the boards is gloved down, and the Russians certainly have the momentum out there. They're playing with a lot of conviction. Ransford's head is down, and he hasn't looked that sharp.
This is certainly the time when Mike Keenan has got to tell the guys to stay hard and true to the grindstone. Let's get back into it. Let's not take silly penalties. Keep throwing your weight around, but let's stay out of the box. We'll chip away at it 1 goal at a time. There's plenty of time left in this game.
Pushkov against Lindros. That comes over to the boards. And Lindros was flying in the first period. He's been fairly quiet here in the second. Corson goes in after it, and the Russians get it up as far as Lindros'. Big reach doesn't work on that occasion, and the Russians come out quickly. A big hook there by Lindros, and it's shot all the way in. Ranford gets the touch. The Canadians go back and bring it out. Up on the wing is Benning. Benning gives it to Lindros. Lindros throws it to the far side. Nikolaisen taking his man out of the play. That's got to be interference. He didn't even have the puck.
You're exactly right, Paul. The Russians are going to be penalized. Ranford will take his time going back to his net. He just barely got to the bench. The Canadians will have the man advantage. They certainly need it. They've got a strike. They need to get back into this one. Nikolaisen takes his time and has a seat in the penalty box.
Strafzeit Russland. Der Spieler mit der Nummer 23, Andrei Nikolischin, erhält 2 Strafen.
Let's take a look at this again. There's the interference. Lindros threw the pass over. And the check was made on someone without the puck, impeding his progress. Interference is a call. Korea and Corson change wings. Lindros gets a chance. Lindros takes a shot. That deflects high. Everyone going after it. A high stick by Corson as he went in to try to bat that one down. Trefilov gets up slowly. That took a long time to come down.
A lot of congestion in front of the goaltender. Trefilov taking a shot out of it.
Beekoff and Lindros square off. Lindros gets it back to McIver now. McIver, that's going to be an offside call. The official standing right on the blue line where he's supposed to be spotted that when McIver brought it over. Five to 3 the score here in the second period as the clock winds down. The Canadians with the man advantage. Again, the Canadians win the draw and take it all the way back into their own zone. Lindros breaks it center, can't control the pass. Corson goes in. Trefilov is way out of his net. He's playing with fire with guys like Lindros out there. The deflection off of Korea's leg. Corson can't get the tip on it. Beekoff shoots it down the ice. Ranford came out of his net. Long pass up the middle. Lindros flips it to the far side. Pass up the middle. Here comes Korea. Korea on the backhand side tries to jam it in. Korea has it banged off his stick, and Lindros comes up with it. Oh, great move by Lindros. Continues to go. Lindros takes a shot. Korea at the side of the net, pumps it the other way. The Canadians with Lindros still applying the pressure. Lindros slows it down, flips it out in front. Shot comes in, and McIver misses the net. All the way back to the blue again. The Canadians unable to get the puck back in. Manson having problems with it. What was he doing? And the Canadians go deep in their own zone, and they're not playing with conviction around their own blue line, that's for sure. Two-line pass. What are they thinking?
No question about the call. Korea taking a bit too long. Lindros unlucky, and Manson not able to keep the puck in at the blue line says it all. The Canadians are feeling the pressure for the first time in the '93 World Championships. They pretty much cruised through their first 6 games.
Face-off just inside the Canadian blue line. And the Russians looking very, very sharp indeed. They've killed off penalties and they've come back well in the second period and played some fine hockey. 5 seconds, a chance for Canada. Recchi unable to complete the move. And the period ends 5-3 for the Russians over the Canadians. We got 20 minutes of hockey, but what a finish on the period by the Russians.
The man in the penalty box still moving the puck quickly. The Russians doing an excellent job of keeping the Canadians in check.
Corson started the game with a goal in the first period on the power play. Then Yushkevich replied, and that was 1-1. There were 6 goals scored in the second period. What's going to happen the third? Stay with us. We got more action on Eurosport coming up in a moment. It's going to be a wild and woolly third period. Period coming up. The Russians exploded in the second period. They're leading this game 5-3. The Canadians are hurting, and the goaltender, Bill Ranford, is not on his game. I think it's safe to say that he hasn't been playing that well. And the big question is, why hasn't Mike Keenan taken him out?
It's a big decision. Ranford has been the savior 2 or 3 times. He's played excellent hockey up to this point. But I said it 100 times before, goaltenders, they're the oddballs on the team, with no disrespect. They're either hot or cold. They're different. They're like the place kicker on an American football team. And I always used to get stuck rooming with them. I used to get fed up. Now I'm commentating and I'm still with an ex-goalie. I can't seem to shake goalies, and I've never had a lot of time for goaltenders.
Keenan doesn't have a lot of confidence in Tugnut, the backup goaltender, obviously, because if Keenan felt that the goaltender wasn't playing that well, and I think he himself will say he's not playing that well, he would stick in the backup goalie. But maybe Ron Tugnut is not playing that well in practice. We don't know.
With due respect to Bill Ranford, he has had his head down 2 or 3 times. That's not a good sign by a goalie. As little as I do know about goaltenders, I do know that's a fact. Psychologically, I think that Ranford feels off. He's not into it. Not that he doesn't want to be into it, but I think he's struggling.
It's a brave decision by a coach, but sometimes it has to be made. Your number 1 goalie's not on form. You take him off the ice and you put in the backup. That's why you got him there.
There are 5 other players on the ice, and if the goalie's having an off night, that's when the other guys have got to pick it up. The defense have got to work a little harder to help out, and the forwards might have to come back a little bit further than they'd normally like to and get involved in getting the puck out of the zone.
That's very true, and the Canadian defense at times in this game has been caught short. There's the backup, Ron Tugnut, who's Ranford's backup in Edmonton too.
Tugnut taking a good close look at what's going on with Ranford on the ice. He certainly probably had a word with Ranford himself between the periods to try and pump up his goaltending partner from Edmonton. Like I say, you can't blame it on one guy. It's a team sport. The Canadians need to pick it up. They're 2 goals down with 20 minutes to play.
Bekoff takes that from Lindros, and it trickles all the way down into Canadian territory, and Manson comes up with it. 7 seconds on the penalty. A nice back pass by Lindros. That's nice on Corson. Just couldn't put it together. The net was wide open, and the Russians are back at full strength. Stepping on the ice, Nikolaisen. Nikolaisen comes out now. A chance as he flips it. Khomatov, the shot is there. Biakin was right on the post, and back come the Canadians. Whoa, they won't have a better chance than they had a moment ago. Recchi puts it in. Big shot, big goal by the big man.
Mike Keenan has definitely had a word with his team. They played the first opportunity a bit casual, but made no mistake with the second chance. The Russians showing just how dangerous they are, coming close on their first opportunity of the period. The pass is directed across by McIver. Eric Lindros with his 11th goal of the 93 World Games, blasting this one behind Trefilov. Trefilov didn't have a prayer on that shot.
The Canadians back on the attack as Smirnov rattles that off the boards out into neutral ice territory. Glove down, and the whistle blows as Smirnov tapped it forward with the glove hand. And a fiery start for the Canadians. A nice setup by McIver. Lindros let the shot go, and that makes it 5-4. From the face-off, 1:02 gone on the period now. Smith shoots it in. Loose puck behind the goal, and the Canadians have come out firing from the side of the net. That comes up onto number 24, Karpov's stick. Karpov muscles along the boards. Karpov takes it over the blue, and that gets away. Smith runs interference. Galley picks up the puck. Correa for Canada. Correa, who was on the Canadian World Championship team that won the gold medal in the Junior Championships, took it over the line, and the whistle blows. This guy was also on the university team in America that won the NCAA championships. The Maine Black Bears, along with Mike Dunham, the goaltender for the USA team. We know that Keenan, without the tie, is going on to the New York Rangers, and Roger Nielsen, with the tie, has just left the Rangers. Nikolaisen tried to chase that. Nikolaisen breaks for the net. McIver stays with him as that comes over onto this side of the ice. Sorokin at the second attempt, the third attempt, and Manson gets it away from Nikolaisen. Manson shoots it out to the blue. The pass all the way across the rink was a dangerous one, and back come the Russians with Yashin. Yashin, a chance. Whoa, that was so close with Nikolaisen. Had the stick out, just couldn't tip it up. The Canadians, Lindros, a chance now, takes the shot. Deflection off a pad out there, and Lindros has come out firing as he did in the first period. Lindros goes up against it, and the Canadians certainly have a buzz about them that they didn't have in the latter stages in the second period. Corson, Galley moves up, a bouncing puck at the side of the net, and that comes out of the zone.
Every once in a while, Keenan changes the lines up. Instead of Correa, he throws Recchi, Corson, and Lindros together. Certainly no shortage of firepower between those three guys.
Two incredible semifinals here on Eurosport. The Swedes against the Czechs was just outstanding into overtime, and the Swedes took it on a goal by Rundqvist. What's going to happen in this one?
The Russians slipping the puck around so nicely. Kamensky, Yashin, Nikolaisen coming close.
And again, we see Ranford down when I really don't think he had to be down. He'd made the move before the shot even came. He was down on his hands and knees. Sanderson slams on the brakes, a big chop by Beritsky. Play continues as the Canadians come through neutral ice over the red line. A chance for Smith. He takes the shot. That goes high, and we'll have another face-off.
4 white shirts for Russia just inside their own blue line, making it difficult for the Canadians to mount any kind of pressure.
The bullies certainly getting in amongst it in the crowd. This guy never stops. A young German by the name of Sven Kielman, a figure skater, says he takes 4 showers a day in that uniform. McIver got the shot. Trefilov made the save. Calling for it is Gagne. Gagne waiting. Graves trying to get it out to him. Gagne goes into the corner and gets the puck, and he's pinned against the boards. And that scoots over to the far side, and the Russians now bring it out with Khomatov throwing it up. Bykov puts it over to the far side. That was nice. The shot trickles away. McIver got a piece of it, and Manson delivers it along the boards. Canada on the attack. Graves moves right in, takes the shot. The rebound is there. Oh, and that could have been taken right into the net by Shendelev.
Russian defense backing in. Graves almost makes that one count.
That was so close. Gagne couldn't keep it in the zone. Back come the Russians. Hitting the blue line, the Canadians backing in. That took a deflection. Another one comes in off the boards. Manson is back there. He decides to go the other way, and the Canadians happy just to get it out, but they don't. Titov intercepted that at the second attempt. The Canadians get it out, and Titov throws it to the far side. A nice pass up to Karpov. Karpov scores! Valery Karpov with everyone backing in on Ranford.
Ranford didn't look like he had a real shot at that puck. Jeff Smith trying to block the shot, was right in front of Bill Ranford. Karpov had all kinds of time. Walked into the slot, the low slot, decided to let the shot go. Karpov on the move, looks around, fakes the pass, takes the shot. Jeff Smith trying to help out. Ranford beaten again.
Not a lot a goalie can do when you got a guy backing in like this. It's a 2-on-1 situation, but somewhere he's got to pull up and make a move. Big goal by Karpov, and the Canadians now back on the attack. That's cleared in, but Karpotsev gets it and gets it out of the zone. 4 minutes, 6 seconds gone on the period, and the score is 6-4. The Russians extend their lead again.
The pass out of the zone too far for Kaminsky. The Canadians will have the face-off deep in Russian territory. The draws become so important, they'll want to negate people along the front, get it back, and get some shots from the point.
Does Ranford feel that he's in this game? Only he will know. That comes back to McIver. McIver takes the shot. That goes through a sea of bodies. Sanderson along the boards trying to get it back in. 3 Canadians caught. Here come the Russians. Up to Yashin. Yashin at the second attempt takes the shot, and Ranford makes the save. And it's rattled away by Buchberger. The Canadians coming out in numbers with McIver bringing it up slowly. McIver has played well. Offside is the call with Sanderson streaking down the right side and over the blue line.
Sanderson is always streaking down the right side. Left-hand shot, always motoring away from the puck. Pass was too far for him to get a grip on it.
Still lots of time for both teams. No need to panic. We've already had 10 goals scored in this game. I'm sure we're going to have 1 or 2 more.
Keenan and Nielsen standing quite calmly on the Canadian bench. Mikhailov isn't letting off, showing everybody he's well involved in this, barking out the orders to the players on the ice.
Lindros trying to feed it through to Recchi. Corson breaks in front of the net, and that comes out, and the Russians are off. 3 guys hitting the blue line. 21 is Pushkov. The shot is deflected away, and the Canadians get it out nicely to Lindros. Lindros breaks down the side. Lindros has Recchi. The pass comes over, and that's cleared away. Some good back checking by the Russians. Galley takes it over the line. Offside is the call.
Both teams quick to come out of their own zone. An opportunity by one team. If it isn't a goal, the other team is on the move very quickly. The Russians again with Karpov getting a shot. Galley doing an excellent job of blocking it. Lindros was on the move the other way, but the Russians stopped them.
Getting set for the face-off here in neutralized territory. The Canadians getting it in the zone as that goes all around to the far side and comes out again. Ranford out of his net, gets it away from Butseyev, and the Canadians started up on the far side. A bouncing puck goes right over the red line, over the blue line. The Canadians trying to keep it in. Gartner does, but is poke checked at the last minute. Manson waits for his teammates to get onside, and that's stolen away by Butseyev. Manson so slow to react on that one. Butseyev so quick to take it off him. Gagne takes a shot at Butseyev. Bykov picks up the puck and gives it to Khomatov. Little poetry in motion when these three guys step on the ice. The Canadians golfing it out. Gartner took a swipe at it. Canada goes for a change, and the Russians apply a little pressure. The Canadians, Brindamore throws it over to an open wing, and back come the Canadians. Long shot, Trefilov on Sanderson's shot came up big.
Quick changes from both teams. Sanderson letting that one rip at Trefilov. Trefilov has been very steady so far in the Russian goal.
Face-off in Russian territory with Brindamore. Titov for the Russians. That comes out. A chance now for Vyakin. Titov. Galley goes up against Titov and puts the grab around the neck, and still Titov somehow controlled the puck. Brindamore, one or two moves, gave it right away. Brindamore gets it right back and then loses it in a skate. The Canadians are having trouble controlling that puck. Galley for Canada hits his own blue line. Sanderson breaks to the far side. He crosses the red, shoots it in. And Canada now trying to set it up from the side of the net. Brindamore, Graves rather, taken off the plate. Graves muscles, and Frolov is hit.
Graves goes to the penalty box, not what the Canadians need right now. Now they're down by 2 goals. Rough stuff along the boards. 1 Russian, 2 Canadians. Sanderson comes in and throws a hit. Graves follows in, not happy with what Sanderson does. The elbow coming up. Hearn right behind the play makes the call.
Back to Karpatsev. Karpatsev takes the shot, the rebound comes out. Yashin went in and tried to scoop it back in through the slot area, and the Canadians push that down the ice. Buchberger is out there against Sorokin. Sorokin with 1:40 on the power play throws it up on the right side. The Canadians go back on the D. Karpatsev takes it up through center. Pass over onto the right side. Offside is the call. And we'll have a face-off in neutral ice territory.
Yashin, Kaminsky, and Nikolishin getting valuable ice time on the power play. Absolutely what the Canadians don't need at this point. Manson taking a misconduct penalty. They certainly need him on the ice.
A 10-minute misconduct for Dave Manson. He has been the provider throughout this game. Rob Hearn really coming down hard on Manson. Must have been something he said out there. They won't lose a player, but they will lose Manson for 10 minutes. And I would have thought that Rob Hearn, no matter who gets it, would turn a deaf ear if it's something he said. in a semi-final game, you kind of let those things go. Butseyev threw it to the far side. Khomatov streaks in there. Jeff Smith clears it out over the zone. That's a delayed offside. And the Canadians are saying all the way, and the linesman agrees with them. So the Canadians trail by 2, and they're in deep trouble right now.
Khomatov and Bykov out on the ice. Why did they touch the puck? They should have just let it go. They have the power play. That's probably the reason why they want the face-off rather than letting time go on. The Canadians could have just delayed in getting the puck out over the blue line. I suppose with a 2-goal lead, who cares if the face-off comes back in your zone? You've got the man advantage.
Correa and Sanderson go in to kill off the penalty. Correa unable to get it back off a teed-off, and that goes to the far side. Sanderson goes in after his man, and that's cleared to the top of the circle. The Russians started up slowly. Good check there by Correa on Karpov. Karpov can't get it. Sanderson breaks up. He's got Correa. Correa picks it up. Correa poke checked out of the play. One or two people wanted a penalty on Sanderson, but that's not going to happen. Galley goes after Karpov. Karpov certainly has impressed in this tournament. His name is going to be on the NHL draft, I'm sure. Back to the blue. And the Russians bring it right in. They've got the man advantage. They lead by 2. Smirnov throws it over to the far side. The Russians will take their time on this one. Smirnov fakes the shot, puts it to the side of the net. Right in front, the high slot. The shot comes in. Ranford is there. Yushkevich got the wrist shot away. Not a difficult one for the Canadian goaltender to glove down.
The shot right at Bill Ranford. All he had to do was hold on to it. The Russians still moving the puck around nicely. A couple of times, and the Canadians appear capable of clearing the zone. The Russians quickly get right back on them and keep the puck in there.
Six to 4 the score as Lindros steps on the ice against Yashin. That comes back, and Lindros just whistles it off the boards. The Canadians on the right side now breaking forward. Recchi, and the Canadians are back at full strength. Oh, a big hit there with Nikolaishin really leveling Graves along the boards.
I've said it before, players don't forget things. Graves had leveled a Russian earlier and taken the elbowing penalty. The Russians get their own back. Adam Graves kicking the puck in and then getting drilled by Nikolaishin.
Big penalty on the play. Number 23 right in front of Rob Hearn. Oh, that's going to be on our hit list, I'm sure. If you're going to go with a good one. Power play situation now with Canada in control. Lindros got the draw. That comes all the way back. McIver fans on the shot. Boy, did they miss Manson. Kaminsky goes for a skate, throws it up into center ice territory, and the Canadians bring it back. Lindros can't get it out of his skate, delivers that through his skate, and the Canadians hit the blue line. Recchi got it from Galley. Recchi to the far side. A shot comes in. Going into the corner, it's the Canadians with Lindros dragging his man down, and Canada trying to get something going.
The Russians just slap it down the ice, happy to kill off the time.
Back on the attack, here comes Canada. Nikolaishin still in the box. McIver winds up, sends it into the zone, and the Canadians don't go in to pick it up. Now it bounces kindly for Corson into Recchi. Recchi has got Lindros on this side. Midway point through the period, 10 minutes remaining on the game. Lindros cruises to the red line, and the Canadians are unable to settle down.
They're not moving. The Canadians are standing still and just throwing the passes around. They've got to get the legs going.
Thrown over onto an open wing. Some good forechecking from the Russians. Sanderson takes a weak shot. Gagne is right there. Two Canadians in the corner. Sanderson gets it all the way back to the blue. Galley taps it into the hash marks. A chance for Sanderson. Goes back to Galley. Galley takes the shot right into a crowd of white shirts. There were two guys sprawling in front of Galley before he took the shot, and he pumped it right into them.
The Russians doing a good job of blocking the shot. Galley following through after Vikov has blocked the shot, leveling him to the ice. Canadians still not moving around very well on the power play.
6-4 the score. The Russians leading the Canadians in this semifinal. The winner will take on the Swedes on Sunday live on Eurosport. Smith to the far side. Coming in now, Sanderson is taken out of the play. And the Russians really have bottled up the Canadians in the zone. Back forward is Benning. They're running out of ideas. Correa goes up on the wing. Benning comes up to the red line, throws it up. That wasn't a pass to anyone in particular. Yushkevich took a swipe at it. Gagne is there. Gagne taps it into the corner all the way back to Smith. Back to Sanderson. Sanderson nicely puts it into the corner. There's no one in front of the net. Benning goes after it, and Titov picks it up for Russia. The Russians are back at full strength, and the Canadians didn't get a shot on goal. The Russians appear to have the Canadians' number out there. A little tip into neutralized territory. The Russians going for a change, and the Canadians trying to get fresh legs out there. Galley collects for Canada, starts it up on the left side of Ranford. Pass up to Brindamore. Brindamore offside is the call, with Graves about 35 yards over the line before the puck. And things are not going well for the Canadians. The Russians look like they're going to be the team to go against the Swedes. They actually look like they could play better against the Swedes right now than the Canadians. The Canadians defensively are not looking strong at all. Brindamore will sit for roughing, with Manson still serving his 10-minute misconduct.
Canadians going for a skate. Brindamore trying to work the puck in. The puck is starting to bounce. Once again, Brindamore having a good go along the boards. Both teams equal on the shots. We'll send one man to the box apiece.
Is this right?
Referee Hearn asking the timekeeper, is the clock right? What's going on? Astrid Hensaf and Brindamore know they've got 2 minutes to serve.
They're now adjusting the clock, and we saw an adjustment the other day with a game played here on Eurosport from Munich. They seem to have things correct. Lindros goes into the face-off circle. 6-4 the score. The Russians leading the Canadians. And the Russians taking control of this one, but it's far from over. We've still got 8 minutes on the clock. Anything can happen. The Russians ice the puck. Galley goes back, and we'll have a face-off in Russian territory.
The Russians had a 2-goal lead coming into the period. The Canadians struck very quickly. They're going to have to do it again. They've let it get away, and the Russians are 2 goals in front for the second time.
Getting set for the face-off now. The Canadians get into position. Pushkov slowly goes into the circle. And boy, they're taking a long time on this one. Gagne tries to spin around and get it back. Russians pick it up. Back on the attack, 12:05. Here comes Pushkov. Shot just wide of the post as that comes out front. And the Canadians start up on the wing. Look at the forechecking from the Russians as they come in quickly to break it up. Pushkov breaks to the far side as the Russians drop that off along the boards. Picked up again by Nicolishin. Nicolishin, the backhander. Ranford gets a save.
Canadian defense still backing up quite a ways. allowing the Russians to have that area in the high slot where they like to start bobbing and weaving, using the trailer, taking the quick wrist shot, anything they can get their hands on. That makes life difficult for Bill Ranford. Good hard skating down the left wing by Nikolaisen. Having time to step into the slot. He's on his backhand, but still gets a shot away.
Gartner trying to break through, and there were one too many white shirts back there to take him out of the play. He'll check at the last moment. The Canadians moving it up. Graves goes after it, and he's beaten to the puck. Smith just shoots it in with the Canadians coming out of the zone to avoid the offside. Double teaming there, both Canadians missing their check. All the way down the ice. The Canadians not looking for goals, they're looking for blood out there.
Certainly throwing the weight around. One goal at a time, they need to chip away and get back into this. A lot of people leaving their feet to make body checks in this game. We've seen it along the boards on more than one occasion. Sorokin feeling like he's the meat in the sandwich on that play.
From the face-off, the Canadians again with Gagne pumping it into the corner. Recchi goes after it. Galley is there with one hand on the stick. Galley gets it out front. Recchi is taken off the plate. Biakin got his stick in there. Biakin slows it down, pumps it over to 22. Shendelev to Khomatov. Khomatov is taken off the play, and the Canadians, Recchi comes back into it. Recchi is poke checked by Bikoff out front. The Canadians unable to get the shot away. Back along the boards. Some good stuff from Canada now as they work it out with Gagne taking the shot. Gagne bringing his man down. A loose puck in neutral ice territory. Recchi unable to pick it up. Now he does. Gives it right to Bikoff. Bikoff, a chance for the Canadians as the shot, or the Russians rather, as the Canadians go back on the attack. Brindamore gets on the ice. Right in front. Galley, and it's almost like there's an invisible wall out there. Lindros has the puck stolen off his stick. Karpov is right in front. Everybody backing onto Ranford's doorstep. Lindros now. Lindros tries to do something cute on the far side, and the Canadians with Brindamore will have to wait until he comes back on the ice. Not a great pass by Brindamore as that comes down. Ranford will get it. Ranford shoots it away from Karpov. And the Canadians are just not playing good hockey out there. Titov with Butsayev. Titov!
Hockey made easy by Russia. Give and go. Pass the puck, go for a skate, and you'll get it back. The Russians increase their lead to 3 goals. What a play. Titov with some good moves, attacking the Canadian goal. Butsayev picks the puck up. The two of them crisscross. Butsayev on the backhand, onto the forehand, lays it off for Titov. Why not a celebration? Excellent goal by Titov.
One man standing still on the blue line. Tries to hook him because he's not moving. Another man, Benning, going right in on goal. Doesn't do anything but put a knee down. And Titov is all alone with Smith coming in. Sanderson coming in a couple of minutes late. A brilliant goal by Titov. And the Russians are leading this one 7-4. Ranford has been taken out of the game. Far too late for my money. Keenan really has to look in the mirror at the end of this one and say, why didn't I do it earlier? Ranford has not played well. He's looked shaky. Tugnut is going in there now in a difficult situation, but Keenan is an NHL coach. He should know better.
Tough spot for Tugnut. Third period action. He's just coming off the bench, stone cold. The last goal, well, Bill Ranford couldn't have stopped that. No matter what, that was an excellent play and well finished off by the Russians. The Canadians are going to try and get Tugnut pumped up.
I've said on so many previous occasions that it's a difficult decision for a coach to make when it comes to pulling a goaltender, but that's why he's being paid big bucks. Mike Keenan is the most expensive coach now in the National Hockey League, close to $1 million a year. He says, hey, if players can make it, I can make it, but you got to make the decisions that go with it. Yes, I'm angry. I used to be a goaltender, and I used to be annoyed if I was kept in there when I wasn't playing good hockey. I watched a lot of hockey games where goaltenders should have been taken out long before they were. And that's the end of the lesson. Back on the attack, the Canadians glove it down and shoot it right in the zone. Trefilov tips it out. The Russians get it through the zone. That goes all the way down into Canadian territory. Galley has to bring his man down to slow him down. And the Canadians double team along the boards. Corson. A little touch from him, and Gartner goes deep. Yashin chases after it. Brindamore goes after his man as Khomatov drops it back. The Russians changing on the fly. They're leading this by 3 goals. 4.5 minutes remaining in the game. Kaminsky. A bouncing puck that the Canadians pick up but don't do anything with. Dineen takes a swipe at his man. A chance for Nikolaishin. Nikolaishin tries to get around Galley. Nikolaishin trying to jam it in on the short side. Yashin is held. Nikolaishin is held. A loose puck still as Dineen gets back against Kaminsky. Brindamore pumps it back behind the net to Galley. Galley lets it ride to Sanderson. A lot of pressure from the young Russians, and they're teaching the NHL stars a lesson. Brindamore throws it up. That was a good play. Sanderson comes in. Dineen is right out front. Brindamore's there, but it's cleared away.
Canadians trying to get 3 strong going forward. There is time left. They're down by 3. They just need to get going and get going in a hurry.
Shot in. The Russians will come out of the zone to avoid the offside, and the Canadians with another big giveaway. Khomatov robbing Benning of the puck, and the Canadians really don't want it right now. Shendelev backhands it in the corner. Benning takes a swipe at it. That comes up to Correa. Correa golfs at it, and here come the Canadians. Coming up 2 over the blue. A chance with Lindros right in front. Corson took another poke at it. Corson goes in and throws a check, but can't get it by Trefilov. Lindros, one little move. His second move, he can't get by Karpov and co. That dances around the blue line, and the Russians will bring it out of the zone. We're seeing some sensible hockey from the Russians out there. They're playing good stuff. They've managed to shut down Eric Lindros. He was on fire in the opening minutes of the first period and the opening minutes of the third period, but that's all we've seen of him. They've managed to keep him out of the play. They've managed to shut down Recchi. Manson gets back on the ice after his 10-minute misconduct, and that really hurt the Canadians having him out of the play.
Certainly did. They needed Manson's shot at the blue line. Having said that, Trefilov was the question mark coming into the game. He has played a blinder, and the Russians defensively have been brilliant. They've got mobile defensemen that move the puck well. A lot of these guys are underrated. They're not big names. Their forwards are quick, they're smart, they play hockey well offensively and defensively. And when the puck breaks out of their own zone, they can turn it on so quickly from defense to offense. That's where they catch everybody out.
Smith up on the wing looking for Buchberger. Another whistle on the plate. Buchberger has words, but that's as far as it goes.
Yushkevich shaking his head, counting his teeth, having taken another shot up high.
Yushkevich played 82 games for Philadelphia this year. That's 2 short of the entire season, so he knows what it's like to be roughed up. Johnson against Pushkov. Johnson wins the face-off. McIver over to the far side. The Canadians running out of time, trailing by 3. That comes to the side of the net. Gartner puts in a heavy check. The backhander is not cleared, and a chance now for the Russians. Queuing up at the blue line as they go over. McIver picks it up. Russians going back, not sending too many men in. Pushkov doing the forechecking in neutralized territory. Frolov tried to set his man free, and that goes all the way down the ice. And we'll have a face-off in Russian territory.
The long pass feathered through, and why not? They've got a 3-goal lead. The Russians trying to extend it by catching the Canadians on the blue line, trying to hold the puck in. Breakaway attempts will be there by the Russians if they're given the opportunity.
Brindamore gets set for this face-off. He's got Benning up close along with Dineen. Brindamore leaves it right on the circle, and that's shot down the ice. The Russians killing off the final few seconds of this one with an icing call. The way it stands now, the Russians will go on and play the Swedes. The Canadians will play the Czechs for bronze. The big final on Sunday, if it ends up with the Russians in the lead, will be between Sweden and Russia. That should be interesting. Both teams have gained in strength throughout this competition. They've both got strong offensive play. Defensive play for both teams at times can be lacking, but it certainly hasn't looked weak against the Canadians today.
This is the same Russian team that drew with Italy in their first game, 2-2. Lost to the Canadians, who dominated them 3-1 in their first outing against them. Now we're in the medal round, and look at the Russians go.
Nikolaishin giving everyone a lesson in stick handling out there. Dineen after him, Galley after him. Eventually Brindamore comes up with the puck. Brindamore hits the red line, hits the blue line. That's as far as he's going to go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 white shirts are back. Trefilov gets the stick on that, and the Canadians go back on the D. Galley tries to get back in a hurry. Bekoff was mixing it up along the red line, and that comes down nicely for the Russians. Khomatov has the puck. Benning with less than a minute on the clock taps it forward. The Russian supporters are already celebrating. Delayed offside on the play. McIver just hammers it in, and this one is all over but the shouting for the Russians. They're going to celebrate tonight, I'm sure. A chance, big shot on Tugnut. He comes up with a save, and the whistle goes. We'll have another face-off before the end of this game.
Smart, sensible hockey by the Russians. 7-4 the score, and certainly it's justified. The Russians have come out and done exactly what they've had to do. Always on the run, shot taken. Tugnut, who hasn't really had a lot of action or many shots directed at him, comes out and takes the angle away.
Teed off from the face-off. That's kicked back onto the Canadian defense to Mayer. Mayer with 15 seconds tries to feed it through to Graves. That doesn't work. Spectators counting this one down, and Yushkevich will have the final touch. The whistle goes. Everyone goes back to Trefilov to celebrate. The Russians are in the final with the Swedes. They struggled for a while in the first period, then came back, struggled for a while in the second period, then took over. It looked like the Canadians were coming back in the third, but again, the Russians showed their class and came back and dominated the third period, and they win it 7-4.
Good finish for Coach Mikhailov. He had his guys going right from the start. You could see the look of excitement on his face. He kept these guys up. The Canadians came out strong, but the Russians just hung in there and kept going at them right to the finish.
Trefilov with the victory salute. Well, an excellent performance by the Russians. The Canadians running out of steam, so they'll have to fight the Czechs for the bronze. The Russians will play the Swedes in the final on Sunday. Make sure to join us then. We're going to go now. Until next time, from Richard Beaupre and myself, Paul Ferguson, bye for now.
The players will be honored by Mr. Ulf Jäckel, Germany, President.